So through Trump's search for cash in his real estate empire, he turned to the Russians. And throughout the 80s, he was basically partnering up with the Russians and whatnot through ways of immigration, which had transformed Trump's heartland of Brooklyn, particularly Brighton Beach, into a catch-rich venture from the Russian Mafia. And if you guys know about the Russian Mafia and the KGB, they're pretty much part and parcel. They work together, hand in hand, okay? And the Russian Mafia in those days, they were protected by the Italians because the Italians, they themselves used the Russian Mafia because they were cash rich to essentially, how do you say, like they seeded their operations. They seeded the Russian mob's operations. So from the early years of the Trump Tower years, he realized the benefit of working with mobsters and gangsters and things of this nature. Right. So he made a deal with this guy. His name is David Bogdan. Okay. You can look this up. Okay. David Bogdan, he was a Russian mob boss, and he ran one of the most lucrative scams for a commission for the Italian mob, okay, which was the Russians. When they arrived here, one of their major scams was known as the Red Daisy gasoline tax scam. And what they did is that essentially they established hundreds and hundreds of shell companies, and they would buy gasoline stations. Okay. This is what they were doing back in the 80s. And just before the tax man came, right, when it came for taxes, they would declare bankruptcy and then sell it to another shell company. And through this process, every single time the tax man came, they say, oh, well, that was the previous owner, and that was the previous owner. So they essentially tax evaded to the tune of billions of dollars per year in the 80s. Billions.